sanctuary for titans, huh? You know, prehistoric giants were the first dinosaurs that I ever laid eyes on. But if you're hearing any nostalgia in my voice, well, you'd be mistaken. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was, truly amazed. But I was also struck by how out of time they felt. So immense, so massive, they just didn't seem to fit our world. Well, that's now the very challenge that we all need to solve.
Welcome back, Park Builders, to Jurassic World Evolution 3's Campaign Mode, Chapter 5.
One of my favorite places in the world. You know we're close to the Shaximau Formation. The fossils found here have been staggering. Over 100 sauropods alone. Giants roam this land. Can you imagine it?
We don't have to. Need I remind you that we are here to create a permanent home for some of the largest animals to have ever lived. The client is expecting no less than well-cared-for dinosaurs and an effective breeding program. Our work here will be under the greatest scrutiny.
Wonderful. I mean, I've spent most of my professional life under scrutiny anyway. But I have every faith in your abilities, Dr. Valdera. Make some magic.
All right, so our mission is we need 3 cohabitating species, 15 naturally bred dinosaurs, a tour with 35 visible dinosaurs, and 10 different species in the park. I don't think we're going to get to 10 species today. We're just starting the park today. It's not going to be fully completed as we're going to go back to a lot of these parks later. We are losing money, though, so we're going to need to find a way to make some money in the park.
Sauropods are on the way, but that alone won't make for a very successful breeding program. We need males, too.
Not a problem. We'll need genetic material in order to synthesize a male, so let's send out an expedition to gather it. While we wait, we can build a lovely enclosure for those soon-to-arrive sauropods.
All right, so we're going to put in the expedition center here at the near the top of the park. It's a sanctuary, so the top of the sanctuary. And then we're going to start building the first enclosure that we're going to have for the Apatosaurus that's coming in here. Going to put it on the side. I'm going to use a couple of rocks, and then a lot of these are just going to have, I think for now, we're just going to use fences to put those together. Might change that up later, but I'm feeling like this is going to be a park where we're going to use a lot of trees and cover to hide some of the fences, but it's not going to be one that's probably going to use a ton of rock. And I'm not, at least at this point, I'm not a big fan of the invisible fences. So we're going to, at least for now, use just a lot of these fences to go through it. And for the sake of time, we're going to speed through some of this as well to get through it, because I'm going to get lost in some of the modular building later, and so to save us time, we will speed it up.
I believe we have everything we need to synthesize a male, so let's begin.
Those dinosaurs were sent to us courtesy of our very generous client, huh? They need to be treated right. So, needless to say, we better be synthesizing the most charming sauropod this place has ever seen.
Yes, well, I'm sure they'll all get along wonderfully. We should ensure that the males and females all end up in the same enclosure, though, and that they're nice and comfortable.
Well, the last bit is a little obvious. I don't know why I wouldn't put males and females in the same enclosure. Don't love the way that this looks yet. I'll come back to that later, but we do need to put in the hatchery in here, and I'm trying to move a little quicker right now, so I don't have time to create or use the modular building for this hatchery, but I don't love the way that it looks for the sake of this sanctuary. So later I want to turn it into more of like an information visitor center like space, or just remove it entirely from the park. Probably the first, just because I might need to make dinosaurs later if I screw something up. So we're going to use a couple of just the basic boxes of the shopping amenities, for the food and drink and shopping in a couple of these spots, just so it doesn't take as much space. And with this being a sanctuary, I don't want this to feel like it's a flashy park. I want this to feel like it's there for utility, it's there for people to grab and go, but it doesn't need to be the prettiest building. It's more there for function. So we'll have 2 of these in here for people. I obviously don't want to just I'm not gonna be lazy about it and just make them a boring color. We're gonna use an off-white because that's artistic. And then we'll change up a little bit of the color on this. Settle for a bluish color because I want to. I don't have another good reason for it. Our Apatosaurus almost ready, but in the meantime, we will put in our maintenance center hub up here in this construction zone. So we'll say that's what it was going to be originally. We've turned it into a maintenance facility, and then we're ready for our Apatosaurus. The mountains and everything in the background here are super cool. But I was also waiting here to see if they would give the intro for the dinosaur like they do for most of them. But I guess Apatosaurus is just not cool enough to do that today.
Okay, excellent. Now all we need to do is let nature take its course, just like it would have done on this very spot in Cretaceous China. Not that it would have been called China then, but anyway.
All right, and then we'll put the the nest in the middle of our enclosure here, and then I'm gonna have one of the viewing galleries on the side of it. We're not gonna use too many viewing galleries in the park here. I don't want this to feel like it's a place where we just get to look at dinosaurs. It's gonna have a tour in it, because that's what we need to have. And I think that's fine, for transportation.
I've always found prehistoric giants to be most fascinating. And I'm far from the only one. A colleague in the pharmaceutical industry is rife with theories about how their physiology will change in years to come. Perhaps in ways that will benefit both us and the dinosaurs.
And I missed that, but that is, or at least I missed it the first time going through this, but that is definitely a reference to Rebirth. So, just waiting on the DLC or the additional campaign, whatever we add here, but I feel like that all but confirms we're getting some stuff from Rebirth coming sometime soon.
I don't understand.
Ish.
Some of the eggs are missing.
Smart money's on those Extinction Now people, right? Yeah, I really thought they were all talk and no dino egg steal. Juveniles are valuable, I guess.
If it was Extinction Now, I doubt they're thinking about money. They want to slow us down.
What? They weren't fossils that they took, they were eggs. Fertile eggs. They stole life, and they did that to slow us down? It doesn't make any sense to me. Well, they didn't take all the eggs. We should nurture what's left and make sure that the juvenile is comfortable and safe. We owe it that.
How much land can we dedicate to these giants? How much land will they need if you succeed in increasing their numbers?
Okay, I forgot what I was talking about before, so we're gonna move on, with the rest of this. So I'm gonna slowly keep adding to this throughout the day as we're doing more research and putting in more of the baby dinosaurs in and going through the rest of the campaign. But there's just a ton of time for extra research that needs to be done, so why not do the modular building and play with that? And I know everybody says it, but the dinosaur animations for some of these juveniles are pretty great. So at least early, I get more locked in on building the park itself, but eventually just being able to walk through a Jurassic Park and seeing the dinosaurs will be
program has already
a ton of
shown
fun.
Progress. Very good. But we need to do more. The client expects greater species diversity and more naturally bred dinosaurs. And that is what they will get. Make it so.
Nature really can't be rushed, but I guess the business world never got that memo. Well, I can advise on the breeding side of things, I guess. Using a little bit of animal husbandry and a dash of pheromones, don't ask me how I obtained them, we can encourage specific dinosaurs to breed with a higher chance of success. Worth a go, right?
Well, I am more of a laissez-faire, let them do what they want. I'm not going to micromanage the dinosaurs like that. They're going to figure it out themselves. They're adults. Well, they will be adults. They'll figure it out. Moving forward into their lives. But no, while we're doing more research and we need to get the Patagotitan in there, I am just going to keep playing, and I keep playing with the modular building. This is how you get better at it. You just got to play with it. So if you haven't taken time, you got to take like an hour, 2 hours just to play with it and see what you like and what you don't like and kind of what your space is for it. But like using it, I wouldn't say that I'm great at it, but it's a fun thing to use to make every building just a little bit more unique and have some more character to it. And I think sometimes when you start a building, it just feels like it looks really bad. And then the more you add to it and the more things that are put into it, it starts to come to life. And it, like, you go through it and you feel like you actually built something that feels real, feels more true to like what you're going for. So putting something together, looking through the props, adding things to it. Don't just add it just for the sake of adding it, but it definitely is a fun experience if you haven't done it already. I love how our Ranger Jeep is just in the middle of this family reunion. Like, I have all the dinosaurs here to see the new babies. And then you just got this Ranger vehicle that's just like, hey, come here, nothing to see, ignore me. I mean, it's gone now. And we're back to our modular building on these two shops here. So keep going back to this because I will keep playing with it as we're doing more and more research. We are still working on getting, well, we got the Patagotitan ready. It's being incubated at the moment. So we are just having fun with the buildings. And I do really enjoy trying to make something a little bit different and unique. And I've been doing that on TikTok and YouTube Shorts as I've just started putting together, and I continue to put together smaller builds of different dinosaur enclosures and building out parks that way. So if you enjoy looking at just dinosaur enclosures and what that is, definitely go check out those shorts. Let me know what you think about those. I've started putting together what will eventually be larger parks in Evolution 3 for that. I did this in Evolution 2 a little bit as well as I started doing this. But if there's a dinosaur you really want to see put in another park, put that in the comments, let me know, and I will do my best. I try to respond to as many notes as possible because as of this moment, I have 99 subscribers on this channel, so it's not ridiculously long and hard to respond to every comment. So send them over, and I will try to say something witty or sarcastic or just authentically what I'm feeling in the moment. Anyways, this is my first time releasing Patagotitan, and it looks big as, I don't know if I can say that. I don't know who's watching this. It is a very large dinosaur. The release of the dinosaur with the viewing gallery behind it like this and the mountains right there is awesome. That might be our thumbnail for this video. Unless I can get Giganotosaurus in this. But I haven't researched Giganotosaurus yet, so that's probably not happening. Maybe another time. And in China, in this, I feel like there's a lot of storms that come through, so we end up opening and closing the shelter a lot during this, but that's not fun, so we're gonna skip through that. I think we're almost done with these buildings, though, and then I need to build out the fencing for this enclosure just a bit more. And then eventually I'll put some more water in there. I forgot that most sauropods don't like hanging out with each other. So I needed to build a second enclosure for Patagotitan. And I don't like boxes, so we take off the edges of them to make them more artistic and different. So we're gonna trank the Patagotitan, move it over there, and then we will play with the terrain in here to give it its own enclosure. But we're missing cover, we're missing tall fiber. I don't know what I'm missing for the juveniles when those come in there, because they're all a little finicky. But I know for sure that I want to put some of the cover on the sides by these fences, because I don't love looking at fences all that much. Maybe in the front of it is fine, but I don't like it when you're going through these enclosures and all you see are fences, especially if this is a sanctuary. But it's a safe sanctuary. It's a safe space. Anyways, gonna pull down the terrain on this backside here, and then eventually we'll put some water down. But I want this to work as like a natural barrier for Patagotitan, so it can't go over there. I'm still gonna keep the fences though, because people are stupid, and I don't want it to feel like people would want to go into the enclosure, because somebody would. And so this is more of it's a guard for stupid for the fence in the background there. I don't think I'm going to make a sign that says something like that. Fence for stupid. And we're still missing the tall fruit and tall fiber. One thing that I didn't realize like the first time going through this, not on this park or this sanctuary, but another one, was changing the intensity on the environment, because that helps a lot, especially when I don't want to fill this with all of this like plants and everything. So if you ever feel like you're in a spot where you can't fit everything, just check and see what your intensity's at, because it's very likely your intensity's not set up to like its max. But I don't think it always should be that way. I think there's definitely spaces where it makes sense to use less of an intensity brush, but I find that I often forget to look at the intensity brush when I'm putting these together. One other thing that changes now for a park, because I'm going to go back and forth on a couple things now, apparently, is I don't need this fence anymore, or I need a fence. I don't need this gate anymore, because I have the gates on the other side that connect both of these enclosures. So cutting that out of there, and I think I'm going to change this path now to something else, but this is going to happen a couple times for me. And now we're actually building this enclosure in the space now, and I don't want this to look like it's under construction anymore. So we're going to move this piece of this skeleton of Dinosaur over here. And I have sick dinosaurs. But I did not put in a medical facility, which means I'm going to build one, because the other ones don't fit where I want it. So, getting back into the modular building, and I have way too much fun doing the modular building in this. So we are going to put together our own version of a medical facility in a sanctuary. So we're going to use a lot of stone. We're going to use some wood. And I want it to look a little different than every other one here. It's still going to be a functioning space for our medics, I guess. But I don't want it to look like every single other one, because it has character. But no, I think that it's, if you have a chance and you got time, I always love to put together these things. And yes, it took me a ridiculous amount of time to figure out how I wanted to do it, what it looked like, and is it perfect? Nope. But am I okay with it? Yes, I am. So we are going to run with this. And it turned out, I feel like it turned out okay. Like it's a little bit different. It's a smaller medical facility. We still have the Jeeps, which I can't see right now, but I did put them in here. Oh, no, it's because it's out actually taking care of our dinosaur right now. That's why I can't see it. But I do have a Jeep there. Anyways, you don't care that this Jeep is not there. We're going to put some more nests in here for Patagotitan, and I have been distracted, and I haven't done a ton with our Mamenchisaurus. I'm continuing to do research on that. I didn't think we had a hotel in here yet, so we're putting a hotel in. Just a small one, because I haven't researched the larger ones yet. But now, Mamenchisaurus is ready to go. Or at least the first one is ready to go. But I'm going to have both male and female Mamenchisaurus in here. And I'm going to put them in the back of the Patagotitan. So we're going to have this loop of like 3 different enclosures for the sauropods over here. And going to do the same triangle-esque space for both of these. And it's not going to be perfectly center because that's not artsy enough for us today, apparently. So we're going to have a few of these not perfectly square enclosures. Again, this is where we're starting. That's always a possibility that we tweak these in a future episode. So if you want to see that in the future, like and subscribe. I guess you like it all you want, but if you subscribe, then you should get notifications that I have more of these that I'm doing, and I will continue to do that throughout the campaign, and then I might even just go beyond the original campaign and make my own missions of the campaign to do afterwards. I'm not sure. I haven't fully thought that part through yet. This is where I realized that I had moved the other one and not just duplicated it. So this is a good opportunity to put that second, and by second I mean third, little statue in, and then I need to make one of these unique so they're not the same exact statue. Fortunately, we already have another one in the props or the statues, and it's not exactly the same as the other one, so I'm gonna just use it for the sake of speed. And I'm just going to put it next to it. So we have one that's going to have 2 of these sauropods and the others have 1. So
fuel and generator.
That's what it's going to end up being. And I'm okay with that.
We've been awfully focused on our dinosaurs so far, and that's not a bad thing for a sanctuary. We can't neglect our guests, though. So let's make sure they're happy.
Not every guest wants their paleo day out to involve a hike. We need a solid transport setup to keep guests comfortable and their minds and wallets open to what we have to offer. Now, simply put, anything that gets guests from A to B will improve our transport rating. A monorail is the classic choice, but tours can also improve our transport rating as long as there are 2 tour buildings on the route.
Oh, yeah, everybody loves a tour. At least until the power goes out, the storm rolls in, and the dinosaurs disappear from their enclosures.
Yes, and the monorail is the easiest one to improve, like your guest comfort and your transportation, but I don't feel like monorails make sense for a sanctuary, where I feel like Jeeps and more like rustic Jeeps are more I feel like they just make more sense for a space like this. So I don't want to use monorails in this space. And I like this little small waterfall. It's more like it's not really a waterfall. But I like that with a little bit of rock. And then we need to just start working on our park tour. So we're gonna have a Jeep tour that just runs through all 3 of these enclosures, and it'll start over by the Patagotitan, and then it will end. I mean, it will go all the way through, but the idea of it is it will have a stop over by the Apatosaurus, where we had originally started with everything for us today. So we're going to put some of the trees, again, on the sides here, because I don't want to be looking at fences the whole time. And then we've got one Momentosaurus in here. We are going to also got to put in a second one for it. And then I'm going to, again, I said I didn't love the way that the environment and the trees and everything looked in the Apatosaurus enclosure. So I'm going to keep tweaking that and changing the intensity on the brush so it doesn't, like, there's a ton of this, the, like, little trees and things, or, like, the bushes. There's a ton of little bushes in here, but I'm not going to go, I don't want to get, like, insane with it, even though I kind of do. So we're going to put a bunch of these little bushes in here, but we're not going to use a ton of, like, the larger trees in here. So it feels a little more just natural, run over. It's not as clean, not as polished as some other enclosures might be in some other parks. I think that the Apatosaurus enclosure here, though, like, it's going to need some more work, because this is probably where I'm going to start putting the other 2 dinosaurs, because I need an enclosure with 2 or 3 species. So this is probably going to be the one that we do that with. I really like the angle of this, and, like, when you look down on the medical center and then the lookout tower, the gallery as well. I'm gonna eventually take out the hatchery, and I don't know what that's gonna look like yet, but that's eventually the plan. And now this is gonna be our route for our Jeep tour, and it's gonna stop here at the Apatosaurus enclosure, and it's gonna run through here. I need to make sure that it's connected on both sides of this. I need to also send a maintenance team over here because my hotel is smoking, and I didn't take care of that, but that's on me. We'll take care of that later. You don't need to see that. And then we will wrap up our route for our tour, going through back to the Patagotitan enclosure and to the back of it. The 2 dinosaurs that we're going to put inside the Apatosaurus enclosure are going to end up being Gallimimus in here, and then I'm also going to put Stygimoloch in it too. I just wanted 2 that they're fine dinosaurs, but they definitely they're not like the most amazing eye-catching dinosaurs. So still Apatosaurus's enclosure.
We started with what seemed like a huge piece of land, and these graceful giants soon filled it. I think we need to expand. Enough for new dinosaurs to roam.
Of course, I agree with you, Dr. Baldera, but it was quite the challenge even getting this space. My conservation sector colleagues would need to have the utmost confidence that DIN could make good use of an expanded site.
And they're not the only ones with a piece of the pie. I have contacts who would probably block a land purchase if they weren't confident in DIN's ability to make it financially viable.
Sounds like small potatoes compared to caring for giant dinosaurs. Let's work on our reputation.
So I didn't like the design for this bathroom here, so I did take some time and just make it a little bit different, make it my own, even if it was really simple to just change colors in the roof, but easy fix. And now we've got a ton more land to use, and I don't know what to do with it yet.
Remember earlier when I mentioned keeping guests here front of mind? Well, we've acquired a big stretch of land since then, and this park needs a transport system that works for its visitors. My vote? The Cretaceous Cruise. We will need to carve out a route for the tour to follow, but I'm sure our guests will love it.
I'd ask if the sauropods would have a problem with it, but they're pretty much gigantic walking snorkels. What's a bit of deep water to a neck like that, right?
So we are 30 minutes in right now, so we are going to call it for this chapter of the Jurassic World Evolution 3's campaign mode. Next time, we'll get to starting the Cretaceous cruise. It's not going to be fully built out. I already know that that's not going to be in the next one. We're going to get through the rest of China, and then we will start getting ready for what I'm thinking will be Indonesia next. Either way, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe. I will be putting out the next episode shortly, and I will see you on the next build.